This little picture will help you. Humans have, this is like representative of your full tank of energy, but most of the energy a healthy person can't access. It's kept in reserve for emergencies. So they'll start feeling tired around here. But when you have FND, your fight or flight is constantly activated. You're dipping down day after day. You might start feeling tired around here, but there's not enough reserve energy. You start having symptoms. And what really helps, which may be some of what we'll cover today, is filling up this reserved energy tank. This can take multiple days of good rest and not overdoing it. I found I got more symptoms when I was drained as opposed to if I had been living normally and had refilled my tank, then I would tend to have less symptoms. So yesterday we did a quick reading. We ran out of time, so we're picking up today at 9.5, How F&D Drains the Reserve Tank. If you just want to read this to yourself, it is available on Amazon as well as Volume 1, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Broken gas gauge. Having F&D is like driving a car with a broken gas gauge. You do not know you're running out of fuel until the engine sputters and dies on the highway. That sputter is your body's way of forcing you to shut down. With a healthy body, it works differently. Imagine a normal car that dings and lights up when it hits a quarter tank. That is the equivalent of a healthy person feeling fatigue at the right time. The signal tells them to stop and refuel before the engine is in danger. The warning system is broken. By the time you realize you are tired, you may already be running entirely on reserves, running out of them to boot. Adrenaline and survival hormones allow you to keep moving for a while, but eventually the tank empties. When that happens, symptoms hit like a stalled car on the highway. I experienced this many nights at bedtime. I am a natural night owl and my husband is an early riser. He takes strong medication to sleep once he's out. If I pushed myself past my body's limit, I would start to stutter or collapse before I could even make it into bed. On nights when my husband was already asleep, I was stuck on the floor until I recovered. It took trial and error, but I finally learned to get in bed early before the sputter. That small change kept me from crashing night after night. The good news is there are ways to outsmart this broken gauge and refill the tank manually. Before we get there, let's look more closely at the science behind why F&D breaks your body's gas gauge and allows the tank to drain without warning. Overactive amygdala. In F&D, the brain's fear center, the amygdala, is overactive. This means the reserve tank is not just tapped occasionally, it is drained constantly, as though emergency fuel has become the everyday supply. The amygdala is a small almond-shaped structure in the brain that sends out signals for the survival response. People with F&D, brain scans show heightened amygdala activity even when they're trying to relax. Moorer et al., 2016. Other studies reveal increased resting heart rates, reduced heart rate variability, both of which point to a body stuck in fight or flight. Paredes, Echeverry et al., 2021. This constant activation of the amygdala allows the patient to tap into energy reserves they otherwise wouldn't have access to. Pick et al., 2019. Leaving patients fatigued, symptomatic, and emotionally fragile. Chronic fatigue is also frequently reported in people with F&D, and I think we can chalk it up to a drained energy tank. Fluctuations explained. Now that you understand how F&D lets you use emergency energy that most people cannot, it becomes clearer why symptoms rise and fall. For me, symptoms often arrived in clusters. First came F&D fog, which was really my amygdala flipping onto the survival response. That set the stage for symptoms. Next came the first physical sign like stuttering or suddenly dropping to the floor. From there, the road split. If I kept pushing myself to expend more energy, I continued to get symptoms which often got progressively worse until I quit for the day. But if I chose to preemptively take a break, those symptoms would stop. Sometimes I could go back to my day once the survival response went away, but there were other days, and that's what I want to talk about here. Deeper than a mere survival response, deeper than the 20-minute break we discussed in the first defense strategy, you need another defense strategy, the final piece, the piece I didn't implement at the end of my last book when I had that fateful fight with my husband. So why do symptoms change so much from day to day? I believe it comes back to the energy tank. Someone in my community once said it perfectly. I feel like I'm borrowing energy that I have to pay back. That is exactly what happens. You switch into reserves without realizing it. Every withdrawal demands repayment. Symptoms are the interest on that loan. Think of it like money. Your daily energy is your paycheck. Your reserve tank is your emergency fund. If you spend from the fund, you have nothing left for the next crisis. Keep pushing and eventually you take out loans. Loans always charge interest. Symptoms are the cost of overspending your energy. This explains why flare-ups vary. A small dip into reserves may take a day of rest to repay. Emptying the tank may take weeks. The deeper the debt, the harsher the symptoms, the longer the recovery. Every time you switch tanks without realizing it, you're taking a loan from yourself. Just like in finances, the longer you delay repayment, the more expensive it becomes. Resting early is like paying off the balance before the interest piles up. And I'm not sure how much of the rest of this to read to you guys. I go into personal anecdotes and how to refill the tank manually, but I have like a 10-minute cap on this video, so there's only so much I can read to you guys. But the basic idea is that you need to rest before your body forces you to. So before I got F&D, I used to push. I technically still have energy. Sure, I can go without enough sleep. That pushing all came to a head and I got F&D. So what I learned to do since I had F&D was to stop pushing myself so hard. Listen to my body when it says that I need rest. And the way it's telling me that I need rest is through having symptoms. I have to rest consistently and long enough for my body to heal. So one strategy that I implemented with my husband, because obviously we still have daily responsibilities. Somebody had a problem with my 20-minute hack because they thought it sounded like avoidance. Not avoidance. It's just waiting until your brain can handle acting like a normal person, and then you still have to handle business. So what I did was schedule my chores into manageable chunks. Instead of trying to clean my whole house on one day, I scheduled a chore for each day. And like my husband would handle things that had to be done every day consistently, like dishes and laundry, and then I would do things that could be batched, like cooking and cleaning. And there's just all this stuff in here, and I hope that it helps you. I was able to heal about 95%, and I have my life back now, so I'm not in a rush for that last 5%, and I want you guys to be able to improve your symptoms as well. I noticed that it can take me about 3 days to make up for one messed up night of sleep, so that's something to keep in mind, and when I was sicker, it might be more. I hope this helps you. Come join us on our support group over on Facebook. Hope to see you soon.